Hi, my name's Alyssa. I'm the host of Stories and Spoilers, the podcast. And for this special autumnal queer bookish vibe, the entire series, all of autumn, is going to be queer books. They're going to be very cozy, spooky, fun. And I have an amazing author here, the author of She Came from the Swamp. This is Darva Green. Darva, tell them more about you.
I'm Darva Green. I write queer witchy romance books. Most of them are based on folklore and fairy tales. And yeah, I've been writing for a few years. I've jumped in from more of a serialized format to writing novellas and novels, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on, Darva. I'm so excited. I actually found your writing through She Came from the Swamp. Starting off the episode, how would you like to describe that book? For readers who have not read it, I guess, yeah, how would you describe it to them?
I'd say that one is a little like spooky, spicy, um, queer, dark, and
Yeah.
weird.
Yes, we have if I remember correctly, she was like a bodybuilder and her grandma had recently passed away. And she ends up moving into her grandma's old house in this like bog, swamp, and there's an entity that she ends up giving like snacks and like offerings to. She also has magic related to dreams. And long story short, this entity may or may not be drawn to the main character. It's got spice, it's got yearning, it's got family magic. And I also love how a lot of your books have undertones of things relating to like kind of drama in families and how that plays a role in the magic system. And that is just so cool to me. And your world building is really great because a lot of this happens in like modern day with She Came from the Swamp, but the magic itself felt very like otherworldly. So
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, chef's kiss, so good. Um, I also wanted to do an icebreaker question. How would you describe your books and like your writing style in 5 words?
Oh goodness. Okay. I think I already said a few of them, but I would definitely say campy, dark, magical,
Mm.
spicy, and
Yeah.
like weird fun. I know that's like six, but it's
No, I'm here for it. Yes, She Came from the Swamp. Would you also describe that as a bit of like a monster romance?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Ooh, yes. I also wanted to touch on She Came for Blood, which was also giving more of like vampiric vibes to my knowledge. Her magic was very interesting in that one. But how would you describe She Came for Blood?
So that one, I'd say that one was more like dark, gothic, whimsical. It was very yearny, yearning,
Yeah.
um, and it maybe like bittersweet in parts because I
Mm.
felt like it kind of just touched on, some deeper themes of like longing and needing to kind of she's waiting for like centuries basically for this angel to show up. So,
I also get this vibe of like the way that you crafted this vampiric love story, the Dreamers and Demons series. These sapphic love stories don't feel necessarily doomed. There's still quite a bit of like passion and yearning and like hope at the end of your stories. I
yeah.
wanted to know, was that intentional? How do you maybe read a lot of sapphic books and it's like, why are we always dying at the end? And you kind of you it changed that. And I wanted to know more of your thoughts about that, kind of like burying the gaze. How did you overcome that, especially in your writing?
Yeah, so that is like a lot of like bury the gays, like we see that a lot in like TV shows and that. And I, at the end of the day, like I want my stories to have like a message of hope. And I don't want to shy away from darker themes because that's real life and that is real love a lot of the times.
Mhm.
And um,
It's
um,
okay. Yeah, you do touch on those darker themes. And She Came at Midnight. Sorry for the cat ears you see in the corner if you're looking at the visuals. She Came at Midnight was one of my favorite books that you wrote because it followed a young woman who's been through so much and is a dancer and she has this like I don't want to give any spoilers, but there is like family trauma. And each book is a different person, it's a different main character. But this one, like she felt so fleshed out to me, and how her dancing was her escape, and she's a ballerina, and of her body is a major element of her magic, and her sensuality is a really major element of her magic, and she kind of lures in this like purple like succubus demon and like their passion was different in the other two books. I definitely feel like you brought up like the spicy meter a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I was here for it. I loved She Came at Midnight. I thought it was so like that magic felt like a pinch darker than the other two books, but I was
Mhm.
here for it because they also their passion was like insane.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just gonna be fangirling this whole episode, y'all. I'm so sorry. This is like the queen, one of the queens of like the Sapphic court. If you want a Sapphic romance with heart and passion and like pretty good spice, open door spice, if you will. Like Darva's books are amazing, and I will have them all linked in the show notes below. But yeah, the bury the gays element. Have you noticed that a lot in like the book world and in your books? Spoiler alert, not really. There's happy endings. Like there usually
Yeah.
actually are happy endings, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Was that intentional for you? Did you kind of want to refresh that trope a little bit?
Yeah, well, I knew when I was writing them that I really wanted to stick to romance and having that happy ending. And I honestly, since I don't know, since we've seen more and more queer books coming out, I've really kind of stuck more towards sticking with romance because I prefer to have a happy ending.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
love, yeah, like lit fic and stuff. Like I'll still read stuff that doesn't have a happy ending. It's just my preference to have that at this point. It feels safer because you know you're going to go through, a roller coaster of things, but you always kind of have like that security blanket of knowing
Mm.
it's gonna be okay in the end.
Absolutely. I feel like a sapphic love story without a happy ending, like it's very much giving like Carmilla. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, she's hot and she's here for me and we're friends and she's alluring and we kissed in the candlelight, but also I have to kill her now. And it's
Right.
like, all right. And it's like, and then I ended up lonely and heartbroken and I'm just sitting on a cliff looking out at the ocean. Like it's very like so the happy endings that they don't even end up together. Like oh my gosh, Painting of a Woman on Fire,
Oh,
another sapphic story, right? Yearning, love, forbidden romance, like spicy moments. And spoiler alert, they don't end up together.
yeah.
It's foreshadowed that one of them ended up being forced into marrying someone they did not want to be with. It's tragic, y'all. It's tragic. And at least in Darva's books, you don't have to experience that. And I'm very grateful because if they're not burying the gays, then our hearts are just like broken and we don't end up with the people that we want to be with. So it's like, what was the point?
Right.
Sexiness, but at what cost? Like, that's like the queer experience. You watch an entire TV show or a movie for like one kiss, and then it's like one of them unalives, or one of them dies, or one of them ends up with someone they should not be with. And it's just like,
Yeah.
why? For what? All for what? Like the crash out is insane. But your books don't do that. And I thought it was so intentional with that how you did it. So I loved it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But have you also experienced that? Is that just me? Was that
No,
just
I definitely know what you're talking about. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, like that movie, like I just can't stop thinking about that sometimes. Like I'll see the little
indeed?
clips on TikTok and I'm like, no, I can't go back into this. I can't, it's not gonna end differently.
No. Yes, I do like get that vibe. Even in like a more recent movie like Mean Girls, where Regina George's character is played by a queer woman in the new film. I was kind of surprised they didn't match her up with another woman as a love interest. I know it was a remake, but the actress was like, "Yeah, Regina's queer," and I'm like, "So we're just not gonna acknowledge that?" Like we're just not gonna like it would have been nice to see Regina get a happy ending, maybe coming out or like dating someone that she could like match with or something. Even Wicked, I don't know if you've heard the theories, but for the most recent film people are shipping the characters, the two best friends, and I'm like, would you ever write like an enemies to lovers or like a friends to lovers kind of book?
Um, I'd love to write enemies to lovers and more of my fantasy stuff. And I would love to write like friends to lovers. She Came for the Pack that's coming up almost has that. Like, Yes, like they're fated mates, but like you realize like it's not that simple in that book because you see them and She Came for Blood. You think like they're seeing each other face to face for the first time, but they've bumped into each other before for like the past
Ooh.
decade. So it's kind of interesting. They have to kind of build up because neither of them really wants a bond, and it just, I don't know. It's,
Ooh,
yeah.
yes. Can you give us like a teaser for like the vibes of your wolf romance, your sapphic wolf romance? I have been craving this book since the cover came out. The cover is like two women, one's got curly hair, and the other one is like super muscular and like a crop top. It's giving very much like that Kristen Stewart sapphic movie that came out a few years ago. Love Lies Bleeding. It's definitely giving those vibes. And they're like standing in front of a motel, and the screen says like vacancy, and they're like under the neon lights. I memorized the cover of this book because I'm literally waiting for you to drop when it comes out. But we all have to wait. We all have to wait. But yes, how would you describe that book like as a teaser to listeners?
So it's kind of like they've been kind of like thinking with their heads and not their
Mm.
hearts. And neither they both have logical reasons for being like, okay, a mate bond, probably not a great idea. So they've been resisting, but something happens. There's kind of been an overarching story that's been very vague in the background, like the Order and the werewolves, they don't really interact with each other. This like murderous occult group that's kind of the background of the
Ooh.
Singers and Demons. Um, they finally kind of have to work together to kind of lead something away from them. And, you know, we kind of have a little bit of a road trip, campy, hiding away in motels and cuddling with a giant werewolf girlfriend kind of.
Ooh.
So, yes.
Yes, this sounds absolutely amazing. If you like sapphics and you like werewolves and you love amazing writing and yearning and sexiness, y'all, when this book comes out, I'm literally sitting here like, give it to me now. The pre-order is gonna hate to see me coming. But yes, I cannot wait to read that book as well. I also wanted to ask, because I'm curious, as a romance writer, what do you want to see more in the romance genre and why?
Well, I'm just like greedy, so as I'm getting older, I kind of want to see more like older queer characters and like the most like niche like subgenres, you know.
Mm.
I'd love to see like I see it sometimes in like straight romances, like these like magical midlife like cozy books, like
Yeah.
they're like romance small town stuff. I'd love to see some of that, but like Sapphic, I know they're out there, but I just love to see more and kind of more of these, you know, um um books with kind of that kind of show like as you get older, you don't necessarily lose this kind of like fun kind of voice. Like not everything has to be like dreading getting older or
Mm.
yes, just still
Ooh.
have fun or be a badass character in a fantasy novel. So yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think as well, like seeing like queer folks and like the LGBTQIA plus community as they get older, seeing that in novels, seeing that in graphic novels like Bingo Love, where we see two older women bump into each other at a bingo game at their old church. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was so beautiful. It's a graphic novel, and they end up bumping into each other as older women, and they had a crush on each other in like high school, but something happens, unfortunately, and they are split up. And then you see the years go by, but they never really forget each other, and they bump into each other when they're older. And one of the women, she's there with her daughter, and she sees her like first love, and they kiss, like no communication, no nothing. They reconnect. It's super sweet. And then the daughter's like, "Mom," because she married a guy, and long story short, sexuality is very complex, but she ends up, her mom, the daughter's like, what's going on? And the mom, like, you see her having flashbacks of like this childhood love. And long story short, there may or may not be some secrets revealed and family restructuring and coming out later in life and discussions of sexuality, but also like queer women older, and queer women kind of finding love again and blooming again. And throughout the graphic novel, at the very end, it does show different covers of their love story, like them in space, them on trips together, them in tropical islands, and it's so cute and it's so wholesome. They do go through trials and tribulations, but like, oh my gosh, like them at the end is absolutely adorable. Bingo Love is one of the most amazing sapphic graphic novels of like older women navigating love, navigating hope. It was absolutely amazing. I have you read it? I highly recommend it if you haven't.
I haven't read it, but now I'm gonna like instantly add that to my TBR pile, and
Yes,
I will
please.
be looking for that. Yes.
For sure. There was another one that came to mind when you said like sapphic. And so this is because you seem to like wolves. A recommendation is this graphic novel called Squad. Have you heard of it?
Yes. Yes, that one. Yes.
Yes. For listeners out there, this episode's going to be coming out around Halloween time, around spooky season. And during spooky season, we need lots of queers, we need lots of gays. We need us year round, but specifically spooky season, I feel like we eat this season. But Squad, for folks who haven't read it, is a graphic novel about a young girl who moves to a small town. It's definitely giving very much like Teen Wolf, but also like Heather's vibes. And long story short, in the graphic novel, she ends up bumping into this group of girls in high school, and they may or may not have a pack, a set of rules where they only eat and attack predators, and that's all I'm gonna leave that as that. It does have darker themes of SA and like missing people, but it's definitely much giving like if Teen Wolf was from a girl's perspective and she is navigating her sexuality, and one of the rules in the pack is you can't fall in love and you can't date within the pack, but rules are meant to be broken. So it's so good. It is not wholesome by any means. It does have violence, but it was awesome. And I just had to recommend it because I was like, have you heard of this, of the ancient texts? Are you also a big like graphic novel person? Do you enjoy like sapphic graphic novels?
Yes. Yeah, so
Yes. Do
I
you have any recommendations?
Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. There is, so I actually worked at a comic book store for 2.5 years.
What?
So I've read a lot of comics. I'm trying to think. There's this one, I can't pull the name off the top of my head. I'm actually Google it in a minute, but um it is like they move to like a haunted farm almost. They inherit like this haunted farm, and one
I
of
hate this place.
I hate this place. Yes,
I
that's
hate this
yes.
place.
I love that
Yes.
one. Like the one wife is like a prepper and she's yeah,
Yes.
totally ready for it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I hate this place by Kyle Starks.
Yes.
The cover is two women, and there's like a cabin behind them, and there's like entities in the shadows, and they're both like either back to back. The second volume has them sitting in lawn chairs, and then you see there's like a group of men behind them, and it's the relatives of one of the women, one of the wives. Yes, so two women who are married move to a spooky farmstead. And it's one of the women's her uncle or her aunt like owned the land for a long time. We as the reader know that there are aliens or monsters, something gets resurrected on the land every night, but the wives do not know that. One of them is a doomsday prepper, and her family like trained her how to kick ass, take names, and the other wife is a lot more like, I think, go with the flow. It's also an interracial relationship. It is sapphic. It is definitely giving like perfect for like apocalypse lovers and like zombie land girlies. But yes, I Hate This Place is the name of the graphic novel. Princess and the Grilled Sandwich is also a graphic novel, and I will let Darva talk about that because that's actually been on my TBR forever. So yes, tell us all about Princess and the Grilled Sandwich.
So that one's like a super cozy. I'm
Ooh.
kind of coming up with like plot lines like off the top of my head. So it's super cozy. If I recall correctly, like everything kind of has like cheese puns, names.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it is like I wonder what it's about right now. It's like
I thought,
it
wasn't
is
it like a
cozy
girl's
and
named
good though.
Gouda or something? It's something
Yeah.
like that. Like their names
Yes,
refer to
it's all
cheese.
like cheesy puns, and just like really cozy. It's a really sweet romance though.
Ooh,
Like,
okay. I'm
yeah,
here for it. I have a
yeah.
dairy allergy, So when I hear about cheese, I'm like my nemesis. But also I'm like, I love cheese, but cheese doesn't love me back. So I've always wanted to read it because I know the cover is this very like pastel-y, like very bright, alluring cover. And I'm like, ooh,
Right.
I always see it when I go to bookstores, but graphic novels are oddly quite expensive.
They are.
So I'm like, I really do stick to like Webtoons. It's an amazing app if you're looking for graphic novels for an affordable price, from like directly from the artist. But if you find a local comic book store, they actually have really good prices if you have one in your city. So listeners out there, take a card from Darva Green because she has the best book recs as well. Sapphic graphic novels, I did not know would be a sub part of this episode, but I'm glad it is. Because there's so many good ones. I Hate This Place has like paranormal Zombieland vibes, and then Squad is definitely giving very much like wolves, young adults, like coming of age. Bingo Love is an older, more established sapphic romance, and then Princess and the Grilled Sandwich. It looks a lot more like a like fantasy, like cozy sapphic vibe. There was another graphic novel that I'm thinking of. It recently got published, but if you get the app Webtoons, you can actually find it on there for free, and it's called Muted.
I
Like when you
love,
mute a phone. I love that story so
yes.
I love that story. Are you a big fan as well?
Yeah, so I love webtoons too. So I read that
Yeah.
originally on webtoons. That's like the polyamorous, like it's like the flower demon
Yes, she's a
and
plant.
the witches. Yes.
Yes, I
Perfect.
love that
I love that
story.
one. And I'm so glad it's getting like published
Me
and
too. I actually so for folks who have not heard of the graphic novel and the story of Muted, in which now yes you can get a physical like book copy, but if you want to support the author as well, like if maybe you can't afford it, Webtoons is also a great option. But Muted is about a young woman. It's set in New Orleans. It's modern day, and there is like dark witches, natural witches. There's like different groups of witches in New Orleans. And long story short, she's supposed to cut her hand and like summon a raven or like a demon. But long story short, she ends up summoning a plant. And like that plant is like, she has a spirit, or they have a spirit, like they have a personality. And whenever she gets really emotional, there's also like a, whenever she gets really emotional, like her powers come out in the form of like roots. And they can like grab people, and it's definitely giving like poison ivy vibes. She meets this like really cute girl who was a fox, and like there's that. Her cousin's going through some dark stuff with like manipulation in the family. It's definitely, to me, like the best way I could describe it, and let me know if you agree, is definitely giving very much like Charmed, but if it was in like New Orleans and if it was queer. And there is poly elements. She does not end up with just one person. She has another partner. There's two partners, and they are, it's kind of sweet. Their dynamic together is very sweet. But yeah, not a lot of spice. I stopped a few years ago, like reading, and just life got in the way. But from what I recall, it was not quite a lot of spice. It was a lot of yearning. But the art in the graphic novel is absolutely gorgeous. In all of these books, the art is stunning. So I can't believe we've read so many of the same things. That blows my mind.
yeah, I love
um,
webtoons and I love that one. That one was just, it was so good.
I'm thinking about rereading it because I read it like 2 years ago, but I stopped, and I know that she did updates. So I'm like, I need to reread it. Also, I Hate This Place has a second volume. So I want to read the second volume because I read the first one and it was amazing. So I'm like super excited for that. Okay. I did also want to ask, what is one of your favorite like elements of writing a sapphic romance? Do you like the character development? Are you here for the world building? Is it the spicy moments? What is it that like gets it for you that you absolutely adore about writing?
So for me, the very core of it is going to be the characters themselves. Like, everything else is kind of revolving around them, everything else is a thread around them. But yes, my favorite part is the character and like the heart itself and
Hmm.
how they interact with each other and that push and pull. That's my very favorite part. And
Ooh, okay. Are there any book tropes that you kind of want to write in the future that you haven't written before? Like, do you want to write like insta love? Do you want to maybe write like, I don't know, workplace romance? Are there any genres you're like, I haven't done that yet? Like mermaids. Like, what is it for you?
so I do have mermaids coming soon
Ooh,
too. My next fairy tale retelling will be a Little Mermaid retelling in that series. So
yes.
yeah, I'm excited for that. Other than that, I'd love to do like competitive rowing girls, like
Ooh,
yeah, so something like that, which is totally not the norm for me, but maybe someday just something sports and
okay.
competitive and
Ooh,
rivals or something. Yeah.
okay. I am here for it. Also, I have a book recommendation for you. I actually own it, and I've interviewed this author before. So this is The Librarian's Gargoyle by Evelyn Shine. Have you read this?
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah, it's not a graphic novel, y'all, but for folks who haven't heard this episode, The Librarian's Gargoyle is set in Paris. It is a monster romance, and it follows a gargoyle, a librarian. I think she's in her like mid 20s. This is like an adult female love interest, and it's still POV. And the cover is absolutely gorgeous. It's like a black, grayish gargoyle holding this woman amongst the moons and stars. And I do know this author hopefully will write more books soon because I need it. While I'm waiting for your next book, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I have to eat. I have to survive somehow.
All the sapphic monster romances. And I love
Yeah.
like seeing different types, like different kinds of like more romantic-y type of monster romances, different time eras. I think that's awesome. So,
I am very curious. Is there anything you want listeners to know about your books, or like anything that you would want a listener to know who's never read your book before? Where you're like, I want people to know this whenever they hear my name or they hear any of my titles.
um, yeah, so I like using kind of monster romance in itself as almost like a security blanket to
Mm,
kind of explore deeper themes of like trauma and that runs through families, things that can be relatable without feeling too rooted in reality. There's always kind of um, something that kind of protects us from making it seem too real there. Um,
mm.
Yeah, so I like to keep like some whimsy in it and always making room for like cozy moments, and there's always going to be an element of hope in it too. So,
Ooh, I absolutely love that. I also appreciate how a lot of your books feel like a weighted blanket. They feel very grounded and like warm and cozy. So you're absolutely achieving that balance of like spiciness, but also the coziness and also the magic. So I'm 100% here for it. I wanted to know, what is one of your favorite love interests from one of your books? I know it's very hard to decide because they're all amazing, but if you had to pick one where you're like, if you came off the page, I'm in danger, girl, which one would you choose?
oh gosh, it is between Morgan from Of Tides and Snow and Marzana from She Came for Blood. So,
Interesting. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think I can tell which one is your favorite. I'm like, the love interest from She Came for Blood reminded me a lot of this book called I think her name is like Mistress, it's like Mistress Venom. It was a book like that. It gave me like the older sister to your vampiric love interest, if you will. And I just remember being like, if your vampire from your book can go into a TV show, I feel like she would go into like the Vampire Diaries, and
oh.
she would have been best friends with like Catherine from the Vampire Diaries. Like she's like, yeah, I'm looking for the love of my life. It's been like 4 centuries. I'm exhausted, but I'm not gonna give up. I'm like, I'm here for it. Let's go. Yes. And my last question for you is, out of all of your books, which book would you recommend to listeners to start with if they haven't read your work before?
Mm,
Yeah.
I would say She Came from the Swamp because that way you just kind of know what you're getting from it. So,
I agree. I agree. Okay. All right. I will make sure to link that book like as number one to kind of start off with. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. I'm so happy you were here to celebrate my little like queer autumnal vibes. Please tell everyone where they can find your books, they can find you on social media.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's no biggie. I will link your Instagram below as well, and I'll also link your Goodreads. And would you like me to link your books from like Amazon, or just is there a certain website you'd like me to link?
I use Amazon, and my newsletter is mostly how I spread my information is Hearts and Hauntings on Substack. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you everyone for listening. Please follow Darva Green on Instagram. I will link that below in the show notes. Check out her books, okay? She came from the swamp. It sounds weird to describe it this way, but like if you were a fan of like the setting of Shrek, okay? The swampy lands. She's got layers like an onion. This book definitely gives that like enchanting, yearning, magical, like I don't know, like if you could summon your perfect girlfriend, all you gotta do is throw a cookie in the water. That's a pretty good swap to me. Like if you weren't in love already, like all you have to do is like give a small offering, and then this beautiful woman just comes out of the water and is like, "Hey." Most people would be throwing like Costco level cookie jars into swamps. But you just crafted such a beautiful world, and I can't wait for listeners to read your books. She came for the pack. I am literally just sitting here and I'm like, release it to me, release the Kraken. But when it comes out, best believe I will be discussing it on the podcast because I'm like, yes, I need it. But thank you everyone for listening. Please have a wonderful autumn. Darva, thank you so much for coming on the podcast
Thank
and have a wonderful day. Bye.
you. Bye.